7th meeting of the Board of Selectmen. If you'd all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Again, good evening and welcome for those of you that have joined us or joined us on cable. We'll move right through this agenda this evening. Any announcements from the board?
Just get one here if you don't mind. Came across this address. Just thought it'd be something that might be nice this year. Is when you're filling out your Christmas cards, you may want to just take an extra card and send it to a recovering American soldier, care of the Walter Reed Army Medical Center at 6900 Georgia Avenue, Northwest Washington, D.C. 20307 5001. And I'll have that. I'll give this address so we can put it on the web page if we wanted to. But it would be, I think, a real nice, nice, thoughtful thing to do, and for those that have been wounded in either Iraq or Afghanistan.
Okay. Anything else from the board? Moving along, we have a couple of appointments tonight, although I believe the second one is not showing up, but first one is Doug Foglio Jr. representing Foglio Inc. The issue is a request by you folks to extend the snowplow contract, I guess, for another year.
Well,
not quite sure how you
contract
request it.
reads that it's our current contract is good for 3 years. This being the last year,
Yep.
it can be extended up to 2 years
Yep.
from the date of execution in 2010. So what I've got is I've got a proposal to extend it for 2 years. You guys can mill it over and see what you think, and go back out to bid or whatever you decided.
Thank you, sir.
And what we do is we just maintain the, we have an addendum. The last time I was in here, we decided on an addendum for the old Alfred Road. That would stay as is for the 2-year extension.
So really what you requested is an extension with a price increase.
Right. We have a price increase annually now from the initial bid.
So the initial bid had a tiered approach anyway,
Correct.
right, across the 3 years?
Yeah. Like I said, if there's something you wanted to consider and research the contract and do all of that, then, we can respond at it at some point in time in the future.
Okay. Any questions or comments? Or?
I'd like to have a
Dave?
look at.
Yep.
Yeah, and I assumed you would, so.
I think we just got to, look at it. It's of what the total cost would be.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's certainly has been a benefit to the town to bid it.
Mm-hmm.
We went 2 years, or we went a number of years with you folks, and then ended up bidding it and went somewhere else for a couple of years, and then went back to you folks for this 3-year swing. So I think if you look at what we were paying 5 years ago versus what we're paying now, we're still below that. So in aggregate. So the bid process, I guess, would work. I guess if you're looking at it from a taxpayer's perspective to say, we saved some dough and whatnot. So.
And I don't think you're paying less now than 5 years ago, but I think
Close.
I think you're paying about
About the
$200
same.
a mile more,
Okay.
I think.
There's no clause in there for gas.
We used to have one, and the cap was at $3. And if that was in there today, I probably would have looked for a lesser
Yep.
increase.
It's
But
in there, but I think it's $5.
It's $5.
Yeah.
And the impact that it has is pretty significant. And, you know, so that's the reason. And, you know, it affects a lot of other things too. When, you know, I don't have to tell you, when fuel goes up, it affects a lot of other things too. Steel, you know, we're putting cutting edges on the trucks and everything else, you know, the piling up the sand and all of that. So that's why the increase is what it is. It's been $100 for 3 years, and I've requested for 2. But
Yeah, I just want to make sure there wasn't, I figured that's what it was, but if there was an increase in for fuel, and then you had that, then
No.
it would be, okay.
unless it peaks over $5, we don't see anything. But hovering now where it has been, you know, in the low $4 range versus what it was when we took, you know, started the contract, it just has a negative impact.
Any other questions? Thank you, sir, for coming in.
Okay.
Sorry that we get delayed a little bit last week. You had other.
John was there.
How is he, by the way?
It was fine.
Fine?
Yeah, he's fine, fortunately, you know. Yeah, I guess the lady was fine too, so.
Good.
That's good. Good ride. See you guys.
All right, thanks, sir.
Thank you.
All right, Scott Davis will not be with us this evening from Lake Arrowhead Community, but in our packet is the MOU that was worked out between the town and Lake Arrowhead. I believe that's Christina put that into the packet. Did he have any other? I think the real question that kind of got brought up last week is what is the? I mean, do we have a schedule? Do we know? Can we get?
Yeah, I can get a schedule from them. In fact, he said that if it gets signed tonight, that they would order tomorrow. Well, I'll tell them we would like to have a schedule of when the work will start and complete.
Okay. I'm not sure that we, other than, I mean, we all have seen the MOU. It's in this packet again. We don't have on here to vote on it, but if,
Yeah, you do.
oh yeah, okay, I'm sorry. Discuss and vote. Yeah. So what's the pleasure of the board?
I think it'd be good to ask if you read
Okay.
the conditions of, a lot of people questioning what's going on.
All right, so the memorandum of understanding regarding installation of fire hydrants and the use of fire hydrants for firefighting purposes, and this is between the town of Waterboro and Lake Arrowhead Community. It's not a long document. The memorandum of understanding has been entered into by Lake Arrowhead Community, Inc., a corporation existing under the laws of the state of Maine, therefore referred to as Lake Arrowhead, in the town of Waterboro. And the purpose is to form a common approach and a basis for establishing an efficient working relationship between the two parties. The document is subject to change and amendment to reflect working practices and resulting agreements developed between the two parties in the performance of responsibilities under the terms of the Memorandum of Understanding. So Lake Arrowhead Community will install and maintain 4 water hydrants along the New Dam Road. They will allow the town of Waterboro and or its agents to utilize the hydrants for fire suppression. They will maintain and repair the hydrants, take all responsible measures for providing an adequate supply of water for firefighting, keep the hydrants clear of snow and debris, and be responsible for all costs associated with the hydrants. The town of Waterboro will notify the Lake Arrowhead as soon as possible after its use, or I presume any use of the hydrants. And the second piece would be we would contribute up to $22,000 for the initial cost of installing the hydrants. if funding is authorized by the town of vote in November, which that has now been done. So that is the extent of the memorandum. So, any questions with regard to that?
Now, where it says up top, the document is subject to change and amendment to reflect working practices. What is that?
Like if something happens during the course of the agreement and we say, well, you know, we need to add something or take something away, I think it can't be changed unless both parties participate, would be my understanding.
Yeah. MOU has to be both parties.
Or if something comes up that wasn't anticipated, I guess it has to be defined and amended at that time.
For historical references, Mr. Chairman, I would suggest that we have the vote of the town meeting authorizing this expenditure attached as an addendum to this memorandum.
Okay? So is that in the form of a motion that you...
I'll put that
I'll
in
move
the-
that we sign the contract.
Okay. So Gordon was in the process of moving that we sign it with the, in including an addendum which would show the vote of the town, November 6th vote, right?
Right.
As an addendum or as an attachment. to
Because
this.
it's specifically referenced in here, so.
So, and you would second that, John?
Yes.
So it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? So be it. Hearing a delegation. Nobody's jumping up. Correspondence, just weekly treasury financial reports. We have now in hand a draft audit report. However, that will not be disseminated to anyone until we have an opportunity to meet with the auditor, who will be here on the 4th of December at 6:30, which is next Tuesday evening. And we will go over it then, but we just ask that the board, if you have any comments or whatnot, get that to Nancy before, so she can at least give that to Ron, so he can come with any answers that we have.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
if I may, we voted on attaching the town meeting minutes or whatever it is to this document. But then I don't think that we moved on to formally accept the memorandum itself.
Okay.
Only the attachment.
Then I would apologize. I thought that your motion was to approve it with that amendment. You were just asking.
I
to
was
approve
just,
the amendment.
yeah, when I made it, I just made it
Okay.
with the addendum.
Well, we can certainly go back and now vote to accept the memorandum of understanding.
So moved.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to accept the memorandum. All those in favor? Opposed? So if there's any clarification there, I guess we now did it twice. So, okay, thanks, Gordon.
You're welcome.
Reports and staff initiatives, Cemetery Committee. Come on up.
This past year has been a little iffy. It's my first year as chairman. I was the secretary, put my head down to make a note, and picked my head up, and everybody said congratulations. So that'll teach me. We lost a few members. Got out there, recruited, and acquired about 10 more new members. Not all can make the meetings, but they keep in touch. It was a tricky year. We decided to tackle a few of the cemeteries that were in the worst shape. One of those being the Hamilton Ricker Carl Cemetery on the Hamilton Road. This is what previously in the past we have had. The bottom picture shows what it looked like when we first started it and what it looks like now. Previous years, NJROTC has attempted it. Boy Scouts have attempted it, all quit. they couldn't deal with the poison ivy. Myself, my daughter, my sister, and a couple of friends decided we were tackling it. 98-degree heat, poison ivy, and you can see how it is now. We did it. It's done. There were a few other cemeteries that were the same way. They were pretty bad shape. No one was taking care of them. We went in and we've tried to clean them up. I also put an ad in the Smart Shopper. We have what we call the Adopt a Cemetery program, where we ask residents in the town of Waterboro to kind of adopt a local cemetery. Being as there are over 100 cemeteries in the town of Waterboro and only maybe 10 or 11 members of the committee, we just can't get to them all. What we asked was that if someone was to adopt a cemetery, it just involved mowing, cutting some brush. If they were comfortable with cutting trees, then go ahead. They were to notify someone on the committee if there were stones that were broken or down, and we would go in and fix them. The ad ran for about 3 weeks, and pleasantly surprised, we got quite a few number of responses. We did have a lot of people that called me and emailed me and are more than willing to take on 1, 2, maybe even 3 in their area. Some of these people are summer residents, and they are recruiting other summer residents to get more involved, and let's keep these cemeteries cleaned up and taken care of the way they should be.
And
Which
they want to remember what poison ivy was like
Yes,
when they were kids.
yes. Well, it's like I told my kids, you know, I bragged. I could roll in it, never bothered me. Yeah. Well, you hit a certain age and, yeah. Yeah. So I was wiped out with poison ivy a couple of times, but I still have the scars. Another issue that we ran into was our inventory. It's gone. Nobody knows where it went. I have a 2009 inventory sheet here. Earlier this summer came and I spoke to Pete, the maintenance guy, and he took me downstairs and said, this is what there is. There's nothing. Nobody knows where it is. He said that somebody came in last summer, said they needed to borrow the mowers and the trimmers, and they were never returned. So we're out a lot of equipment, and it's like, so all the work that we did, we used our own mowers, our own weed whackers, everything was our own because it just was not downstairs. That is a copy of what we had 3 years ago. There isn't hardly anything left. There may be a few fence posts, a dried up container of Gorilla Glue, and that's it. So we're still trying to find where it went. I hate to take what money we have coming to us for our budget to restart all over again and purchase the mowers, the weed whackers, and everything else. I don't know if they were just borrowed and they just forgot to bring it back, or what. I'm at this point, I don't know what to do. I really honestly don't know what to do.
Have you spoken
anything
with
about that, Nancy? I mean, who would, first of all, why would Pete give it out?
Without having
He said it
someone
was
sign.
2 younger men that came down through the back entrance and said they were there, they needed to use the mowers, and I think it was the weed whacker. He said he was under the impression that they worked for one of the committees, or he said so he let them take it, and it never got brought back.
Could we check with Mike, maybe email something?
Might be Steve.
Yeah,
Mike,
make sure it's not
just
down
do
to the
Mike
green. Make sure it's not down to the,
Parks and Rec.
yeah.
Yeah.
That would be fantastic.
So this was a 2009 inventory, and what you're saying is there's really none of it.
No, it's gone. It's, I mean, I could see the smaller stuff being used up. But I mean, where are the mowers? Where are the, I mean, all the cutters, all the chains?
If I remember right, one of those DR trimmers was a big unit.
Yes, it
Or
was.
were they both of them? Or was they?
One that I
remember
know
was-
of was a big unit. The other one, I'm not sure of. I am not sure of, but
Should be a sign out.
if it's like my house, I know things
Policy.
do grow legs and run away,
Yeah.
but hello.
I can't remember how long ago Alan Roberts mowed the cemetery, but we hit a brand new mower last year.
Yes, I know there was a mower that was bought a couple of years ago, and I can't locate any of it. So, other than that, did any of you see the ad that was in the paper? Okay.
I thought the town had a policy where we took care of the cemetery. I mean, what was Alan doing? Was it just some cemeteries?
Yes. This committee takes care of the older ones that are out.
Right. I know Russ Lowell does take care of some of the bigger cemeteries that we have nothing to do with, but it's all the other 100 and so that are out there.
So is Russ still doing it? Who's doing
Yes.
cemeteries?
Russ still mows a few of the cemeteries.
And there's a separate group that does the older cemeteries?
Yep.
Do we have one list of all the cemeteries? I'm sure you have.
I do.
And we ought to,
Okay.
we ought to more formalize that and say, these are, I mean, as we get into budget season, which we're right into now, right, we're starting, we should identify, these are the, I mean, the big cemeteries are all taken care of by cemetery associations, right? So we don't get into the big ones. But then you've got like a second tier that are a little more substantial than just, you know, a cemetery that might have 3 or 4 plots or something.
Right, like that one that we just did, to look at it, when we first saw it, you saw one stone. As we got in there are hundreds of stones. And it's an awful thing to say, but most of them are down and broken. And I'm gonna have to, you know, restock again to go in and repair all of these, all the clamps, the Gorilla Glue, everything that's needed to do this. That's why I had spoken to Pete earlier this summer to see what was down there. And
So I would expect that your committee would come to us with a pretty hefty
not me,
request for money.
no.
No,
not
I
me.
mean, if there's no inventory left,
There is no, yes,
Right.
yes. I mean, we have,
now there might be an opportunity, because I think if you look at some of the equipment that's used on a regular basis, that, you know, that might be able to, and I don't want to say hand-me-downs, but there are some things that we might upgrade somewhere else that frees up a mower that we could give to the cemetery committee, right? I mean, so I think we ought to play that out a little bit, but, and Lord knows there's enough of it that gets thrown away around town that's still operational. So if you know, maybe Pete wants to get his creative juices flowing again, maybe there's an opportunity there to. But I think we ought to at least look at, hey, these are the things that we need, and if that's the list, then that's the list, and
right.
we need to put a number to it and say, okay, are we going to put $3,000 back into this, or 5, or 30,000? I don't think it's.
Like I said, Ed,
anywhere
when
near that.
we're tackling these cemeteries here, we were
Yeah.
using our own personal equipment. My husband wasn't too pleased. I broke his push mower, but oh well.
And then once the equipment is acquired, it's the town's equipment, not necessarily the cemetery's
Right,
equipment.
right.
We need to have a better handle on what we have and who's using
Who's
it.
using it and where it's going. And
Yeah, anything,
Is it coming
anything should
back?
have a sign out
Yeah.
sheet type of,
It was always stored down
so
somewhere.
anybody using it from any committee should There should be a record of who it is and what they signed out,
They should
and when
be-
it
they
came
should
out,
co-
and when it came back.
Should be going through Christina to make sure that they are a committee.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah,
Donna,
because
the,
like Pete said, he had no idea who these kids were. He just assumed they were either
yeah,
part
I
of
think the employees.
NJROTC or Parks and Rec or whatever.
Do you know when the last time anybody saw any of this equipment?
When I talked to Pete, he said the last time he saw those mowers was last summer. This is
Pete
what
here?
you-
summer
Yes.
before last.
Yep.
I think
So a
the
lot of it hasn't been seen in a while.
employees need to be notified that nothing goes unless it's through Christina or somebody.
Yeah.
Also, on the broken headstones, if they're vets, I believe you can have those replaced through the government.
We can contact the Veterans Committee themselves. They will issue a plaque. That's pretty much what they will do. Just recently, what they will do is an actual stand-up stone. But where some of these vet stones are back from the Civil War, the Mexican-American War, we're trying to preserve those stones, trying to get them back somewhere near what they used to be. A lot of them are clean breaks. I mean, it's just putting it back together in a really good glue or something that's going to hold it together. We have had a few that have been vandalized. There is one up on West Road, above where I live. Some kids went in and all the stones, broke every stone down. Some of them, the marble stones, they broke into chunks and threw it into the swamp next to it. My son, later on that year when the swamp had dried up enough, went in and got as many of the big chunks out as he could. I don't think there's any hope for it. The slate stones that they knocked down, those are almost impossible to repair because when they broke, they slivered. There's
It
not
looks
much we
like
could do.
somebody had taken like a pizza cutter
Yeah.
to the stone.
Yeah. The old corner cemetery. Someone decided to go in there with a few cans of spray paint. Had themselves a blast with that. That is one that I was contacted, and I think the Masonic Hall is going to take that one over and go in the spring and clean it and take care of it, which was, yes. Good. That one looked like it had poison ivy too.
And what is your names?
Donna Mayo.
And I'm Kelly.
This is my daughter
Mayo.
Kelly.
So Donna, you have once you restore or at least unearth all of the,
Yeah.
all right, you try to keep an active inventory of
Right.
what you can make out for headstones and
Right.
glue and all of that. Right?
We have the John Frost book. We have a listing that was done by E.D. Hutchins.
Yep.
My daughter and I, as a matter of fact, are going and we are documenting every cemetery. We are photographing all the stones, recording everything that's on the stones, so that if, God forbid, the stones do crumble and there's no hope for them, there's still going to be a record. We're still going to have the picture and anything that was written on the stone. We've been 3 years working at this,
Yes.
and we're not even halfway done yet.
Talk about a labor of love.
Well, yeah, I mean, growing up as a kid, that was my folks' idea of a Sunday drive, was to pile 5 of us kids in the back of a truck, drive the dirt roads, and stop at the old cemeteries, so, I mean, I grew up with it, and it's just something I've always loved to do. And to see that some of them in the shape they're in really bothers me. It really, really bothers me. So, like I said, we've been trying to go in, trying to put these things somewhere near back together. Like I said, the extreme heat, the poison ivy, and the lack of our inventory kind of put a screeching halt to some of it this year. But we're waiting for warmer weather to come back. Actually, I think I'm gonna go to that one now, because I know the poison ivy's dead, so I can go in and not have to worry about it. Did you want a list of all of the cemeteries? I
think
could
we-
do
I
that.
think we
You-
need to put together something that we have.
We do have a list of all the cemeteries.
There have been a couple
We
that
have
have
found new
been
ones.
added.
We have found new ones. Matter of fact, there's been, well, we found a new one, and then the stone disappeared. That headstone is now sitting on somebody's back lawn in Buxton.
Really?
Yes, I was concerned because there were 3 names on this stone. One of them was a little girl, and I had called, and I think I spoke to you a couple of years ago. There was no record of this young girl ever being buried in the town of Waterboro, but yet her name was, and birth date and death date were engraved on the stone. The man's name on it, he's still alive. The woman's name is,
Alice Bragdon.
yeah, well, she has since passed on, and she's buried off in another town someplace, but nobody knows about this little girl, so. But there have been, like I said, a few others that we have found that are in the town of Waterboro. This was one of them that we did. It was quite the discussion between Waterboro and Lyman, just who it belonged to. Jim Carl said, well, since most of my relatives are in it, I think it's ours. So I was like, thanks, Jim. So, one more for the list.
Now, this headstone that's in Hollis, has that been followed up on? I mean, what's the situation there?
Nobody can figure out with a little girl.
I'm concerned about the headstone, not,
Well, the person who took the headstone, it was his name that was on it, and he said since he was alive, and his ex-wife was buried in another town, he wanted the headstone. No record, like I said, of the little girl.
he doesn't know anything about the road?
Nope.
We've searched and searched and searched,
No
and we can't come up with
idea.
anything.
It was, what started it all was Jim Carl, when they, Paranormal State did the haunted house thing, and the Margaret, well, we found that stone.
Yeah.
And it is, the Margaret was the name of the little girl that was on it. So, cemetery found, cemetery lost. You know, so. Also, we are trying to get a website up and going for the town, for the cemetery committee. You suggested that we go through Dave, the town, to try to get it so that genealogy, anybody could go in, go to the town of Waterboro, check out all these cemeteries, have access to all the information.
You can give us some input.
We need to get together.
Thank you.
Even in a crude form, let's get it going.
Yes, we've been kind of like back and
Yes.
forth
Yeah,
here,
I mean,
missing.
to me, it would be great if, you know, you got a map of the town that comes up and a flag that shows the location of it.
We'd like to
Cemetery,
do
Which
that.
like
we
a-
have that
Yeah,
map.
we have a map,
We
but
have
a
a
lot
map.
of the locations we're finding are a little bit off.
We're gonna redo it, but-
example, we were trying to find the George Hall Cemetery, which is off of, oh, I forget the name of that road. It begins with a P or Mill, something. It's behind the Grange Hall. Well, Jim
Oh, yeah.
Carl informed us that it was directly behind the Grange Hall, and according to the map, it was. Well, it's not. It's a few 100 feet back from there. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to go through
Just,
and
it's how do you
get.
define just behind the Grange Hall? Right, a
Yeah,
couple
he said
hundred
it's
feet
right
here.
That's
there,
what he said.
right behind the Grange Hall. We circled that Grange
We did,
Hall.
we
It
circled
wasn't even
it.
there. It's out in the middle of the development.
So we're trying to get new GPS coordinates and provide a new map that's more accurate in case relatives of some of the people that are deceased can go and see their relatives' stones and all of that, which is turning out to be quite the project as well.
Yeah, it is.
So we ought to take a look at all of that. Going in. So
Any-
if you can provide us, get Nancy a list, or Christina,
Okay.
a list of what you need to do to replenish the tools of the trade, okay? And so we at least know what it is, right? And there should be an ongoing, or, you know, whether we have a little cage set up downstairs or something that keeps all of the stuff in it, so that people can go in and say, okay, we need, you know, especially with some of the glues and epoxies and stuff.
Right.
You know,
Gorilla Glue's not cheap. Not the stuff that we have to get for the stones. It is expensive. I mean, the clamps, all of our fence posts, our chains, because the veterans have to have chains around theirs. And we've got a couple of them that somebody is bound to determine that we're not going to put a chain on it, and they keep stealing the chains. So we're debating on getting the cheap plastic chain and just putting it around this one. So
Seeing
I don't
if
think they want the
still wanna
cheap plastic
take
chain,
that.
but that's our predicament. So
What's the objection to the chain?
I don't know. I don't know if they're taking it for their own personal use.
Do you know who's taking it?
We don't. It's one of those. It's off of Chadbourne Ridge Road,
Yeah.
and it's just kind of up by a bunch of trails. So we don't know if if it's 4-wheelers, snowmobile
you
hunters.
roll it all the links together, right? The chain would then become useless, right, to anybody else. But
Well,
it would
that's
look
why
like
we
it's
figured
hanging
if we
from-
go with the plastic chain up there,
Hopefully, it won't be so
yeah,
appealing,
they
and
won't
they'll
want
leave
the
it
cheap
there.
plastic stuff. And you never know up there. No, I know, but you got to do something because it's a veteran, and we
25.
still have to chain it in. So,
Yep.
okay.
Well, I liked your report, except the beginning had me a little shocked when you said, it's tough to get a report from the cemetery committee, and they start off by saying they lost a few members.
Well, we did.
So it's-
Cemetery and losing members. Not quite that way. They still walk. They still breathe. They just don't come to meetings anymore.
Those
So,
members are voting.
they are. They are. So. And that's it.
Good.
Okay. Thank you very
report.
much.
Thank you.
What
Thank
size,
you.
what size tape measure were you missing? Do you know?
I have no idea. It's on the list. If it says, I know they had a few big ones because they had to measure out some of the cemeteries.
No, I've got a few 25-footers. I mean, over the years,
Ah.
you sort of, I have like 6 of them in a drawer now. So
We'll take one. We'll take one. We'll cross that off our need list.
Could I keep a copy of it?
You guys
You
can
can have
keep
a copy.
those.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Good.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, folks. Good report. All right, let me get back to my pack here. Moving on, Selectmen's reports. We'll start up with this end. Nothing? Nothing? Anything to report? Selectmen's report?
I went to the library committee meeting last night, and the major thing that they're discussing is there's been some funds that yearly are given by a gentleman of $500 a year to the library the Friends of the Library, and looking at taking some of that money and buying a couple of Kindles or other items similar to that people can borrow, and they would have a few books already on them. But I think the major service that could be given to people is someone like myself, go in there and borrow one for a couple of weeks and say, do I like this enough to go out and buy one? Because, I mean, they're not terribly expensive. So one of the things they're looking at is which devices that they're looking, which devices to buy, how many of them, and then the borrowing policy. So if someone's borrowing an $80 piece of equipment, should it be different than borrowing books? On the other hand, if you borrow 3 books, it's $80 worth of books, if they're hardcover books. So I think they're going to do a little research, and they're probably going to be purchasing a couple of these items maybe in February. That was the main essence of the meeting.
David?
Yes, the Christmas Phantom of North Waterboro has placed a beautiful lighted Christmas tree on Route 5 just before or after Deer Pond Fuel. So it's very nice. It's sort of isolated, but it's a surprise when I saw it tonight. So go take a ride.
Christmas Phantom.
Christmas Phantom.
Okay.
The ghost of Christmas past.
You all set, Dave?
Yeah.
Yeah, I attended the transfer station committee meeting last night. Dwayne was his inaugural meeting, and so he's been volunteered for a number of different things. But the kind of the premises is kind of talk about revitalizing some things, but we're going to baseline now that we have all the information from EcoMaine on what our real recycling rate is, and we'll profile that out. And I think really then it becomes, what is the next step? How do we drive some things? So the committee's also going to look at a cleanup day in the spring and a cleanup day in the fall. That's going to, according to Clint, cost some scratch. So he's going to try to at least profile that in this year's budget, his proposal. And one of the concerns I think is if you don't have one for a number of years, and then everybody brings all the stuff in, it costs you like $10,000 to get rid of it. But I think if you head to a year, it would eventually get down so it's just a normal, heavy weekend or whatever. So anyway, they're working on that. So anything else from the board? Town administrators report.
As Dennis had reported, we got the draft audit, and there's copies for the board, and I have given the treasurer a copy to review. We received the new insurance rates for the health insurance for the Maine Municipal Health Trust beginning January 1st. Health insurance reflects a 7.5% increase, and dental was 6% on just a single subscriber. I talked to Tom Ursher today, and an update on him. He will be out until at least December 10th. He's still having some problems. And I passed out a calendar for December for the payroll and APs, where Christmas and New Year's is on a Tuesday. Board will have to decide what you want to do about signing warrants, when you want to do them. And on the office addition, I thought the HVAC company was coming in to put together a quote, and when I came back yesterday, he hasn't been here, so I gave him a call and told him we needed it as soon as possible. One electrician has looked at it the same time as he was looking at installing new LED lights, and I think that got rolled into the CIP. But we do have another electrician that is coming also to look at the lights and to do the wiring also. And of course, we're getting into the budgets.
So if we look at the payroll and APs, if we did have a session with the board late on those Friday afternoons, the 21st and 28th, to at least come in and sign. I mean, we all don't have to be here, but would they be ready?
Yes, they could be ready.
And that way, it's either that or those Mondays, and I'm not sure anybody
No,
wants to.
Mondays, the 2 Mondays are half-day holidays,
Right,
and
so
I think there's only going to, most of us are taking a half a day
So
vacation.
the real option is Friday afternoon, right?
Mm-hmm.
So as we get into next week's meeting, we ought to plan that out. Because we're really only going to have 3 meetings this month, next month. Unless we have one on a special night, so let me add that to next week's agenda is
Yeah, and also,
our meeting schedule for,
when we was talking about it yesterday, is on the 18th, we could do a lot of the APs, because you're really going to know what's
yeah.
except for maybe road projects. And the payroll, we can do the warrants, and where the selectmen have the policy that only takes, they can be released in one signature too. So you have that to fall back on too.
Christina's back when?
Thursday.
All right.
I
Anything
have
else?
need a clarification. A few weeks ago, Doug was in here and he said I can't remember how he worded it, but he said he needed someone to work with Tommy. How did that go? Did we approve that, or what came of that?
We were looking for another part-time employee, right?
Well, that was approved in the budget.
Right. Did we ever hire anybody?
We got resumes, and then after Doug to come in and look at them.
So that's still in the process of looking at
Yeah, he hasn't been in. We keep reminding him. Christina calls him.
applications?
Yep.
Okay.
Want to raise that next week, David?
I guess, yeah.
Okay. If nothing else, we're moving to new business. Discuss vote to approve the renewal of a malt spirituous and vinous liquor license for Woody's Sports Grill on the West Road. You've got everything here from response from the code officer, from the fire marshal, and there is also some input from Sean.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Done. And I'll talk to Christine. I think we just need to make sure that maybe we need a list of, a tickler file of all the people that have liquor licenses in town so that we don't run around, this thing expires Saturday and we're voting on it tonight, so, I mean, I'd like to help all those business owners out, I don't know, it's our responsibility to keep track of when their liquor license runs out, but we could at least send them a 60-day notice of, oh, by the way. Anyway. All right, we said we'd have a little discussion on county service cost appropriation proposal. Not sure that that's got much traction at this point, only because it's coming from a group of town managers, but maybe it's time that we have a counter proposal from the.
My thought is that there's a very limited group of administrators that have been included in this proposal. I know that John Sylvester is going to be drafting a response to Barry Tibbetts that if they're going to be discussing matters that impact the entire county, then they should be asking representatives from all 29 towns to be part of those discussions and not just a few select communities. So I think that
Not just stick it to communities with town managers.
I think it would be helpful if kind of we reiterated that from our point of view, that if they're going to be having these discussions, we need to be part of that, because if you look at the spreadsheet that they've provided, Waterboro by far is the community that's the most impacted by the proposal. I think the other thing that they need to look at in this proposal is they need to realize that the non-cop towns are not the only ones that are utilizing the Sheriff's Department. The Sheriff's Department is working outside of those communities and doing other correlating between communities that have like there might be something that's happening in several different communities. It's one burglaring, but it's impacting communities that have police departments and non-police departments. So there is a use of the Sheriff's Department service by the cop towns, and I think that the sheriff needs to be brought into that conversation to say, and I know at one point there was a statistic done, and I believe 20% of the rural patrol's time was spent working with communities that do have full-time law enforcement. So I think that needs to kind of be brushed out. And I think the other thing that needs to be brought up is that if they're going to start looking at a user fee for rural patrol, then you need to start looking at user fee all across county government. Because maybe these rural towns are utilizing the rural patrol, but when you look at other services that the county provides, such as district attorney services, certainly the larger communities that have full-time law enforcement are using those services far more than the small towns like, Waterboro and Parsonsfield and whatnot. So they need to look at county services as a whole and not focus on just one aspect. So I don't know if Nancy could draft something up that would kind of encompass all of that, and then as a board we all sign it. But I think that before they get too far into conversations and starting legislatively to try and garner some support for this, because it will require law changes, we need to get our voice heard in this.
Yeah, and I'm not so sure that, and I guess that's really what we need to ferret out of this, is this just a bunch of city managers, throwing some numbers around, and, granted, somebody's taking an afternoon and doing a spreadsheet and all of this, but I guess it does have huge impact if it got any traction. The real question is that there's a lot of things that have to happen before it gets any traction, and is there should we start knee-jerk reaction based on a few emails and letters that are running around, or should we, and I would think that the 12-town group is a perfect forum to address that, and it should come back, individual towns can reiterate that, but it really, at this point, is what appears to me is a lot of arm waving, and I'm not sure that it's got any other traction other than that, right? Unless they get the ears of the commissioners. Do we know that?
That I don't know.
So I think it's great if we want to respond to them, but do we respond to the group? Do we say to Barry Dibbets, who really seems to be the genesis of this, hey, before you go any further, let's, hope you're considering all these other things, or?
Make one comment.
Yeah.
The cops are on call 24/7 for every town. Are they not? So that's got to be taken into consideration too. The police force doesn't exist solely for this call or that call. If any town calls them any time of day, somebody's going to show up. That's got some value to it too that you can't calculate.
Well, the sheriff's department is not going to respond to calls in a community that has law enforcement unless they're called in for mutual aid, and there's some kind of mutual aid pact between that community and the sheriff's department. The sheriff is tasked with providing law enforcement to the communities, the 24-hour law enforcement to communities that don't have law enforcement. So the argument of the larger towns is that because we have our own police force and we're paying X number of dollars for that force, we should not have to pay for the communities that don't have their own local law enforcement and rely on rural patrol services.
So, since we have contract deputies, do we qualify for having our own?
They would weave that into the price. There's something in his email about how that would work.
How did he weave the state police in there?
It's not.
Yeah, well, they use a lot of the functions of county government, including impact on the district attorney's office.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got his little spreadsheet calculates both what the total would be by population, or what the total would be by state valuation.
Yeah. And
we are the most populous non-cop town in all of York County. So, there's also communities with less population that have their own police forces, but when you look at the grand total, we are the largest community in York County that does not have a police force, although we have a contract deputy. So,
Is there anything on there that says the amount of crime in each county? I mean, isn't that?
that doesn't matter. And when you do an analysis like this, that doesn't matter,
How
right?
much you used it?
All you care about is just making the numbers line up so that you save yourself all kinds of money.
Our call volume, Waterboro has the highest call volume of the contract deputy towns.
All right. That's what I was looking for.
There's 14 towns that do not have their own police department in York County.
All right.
We're one.
What I find interesting is that those communities that do not have, that have their own police force, none of those communities would save as much as it's gonna cost the town of Waterboro, predicated on valuation to do this swizzle. So even the largest community is not gonna come anywhere near saving the amount of money that it would cost Waterboro as an individual community to see this cost sharing.
Waterboro would absolutely be the most impacted community by something like this, and that's why I think it's really important for us, right at the get-go, to get involved in this, say that we understand what you're trying to do, we want to be involved in these conversations, and we oppose it. Regardless of what the 12 town.
Well, we certainly
says.
can put something together, and I can work with Nancy, and we can present it to the board, and we'll sign it and send it down to.
When you look at that,
Barry seems to be the spearhead, right?
you look at that cost, and it's enough to say, you know, almost cheaper to go out and get your own police department than to pay for that.
Well, that's right,
See,
because
that would skew their numbers.
if we went and got our own police department, then it's gonna, if we didn't, it's gonna cost us $400,000, so call me crazy, wouldn't you put a couple $100,000 or $300,000 into hiring a few positions and say, you know, we're not playing, we're now on the other side, right? So doesn't it, I mean, don't you think, you know, it's like anything else, you know, you raise taxes on cigarettes to raise taxes, right? Revenue, and more people quit. So so what they're trying to do here is, okay, we're gonna do a cost sharing thing, and the towns that are gonna be impacted the most, it's cheaper for them to start their own
Bail out.
Anyway,
Okay.
anything else? I don't have I think, we can at least tee it up with, but it's gonna go to, I think at this point, it's just gonna go to Barry, right? The communications?
Well, maybe to this
I think
entire
she's going
group
to
that's,
Unofficial group?
yeah. And do other communities, I mean, Nancy found out about it, I don't recall how you found out about it, but
Yeah, in an email that I had gotten, but I didn't get, when I gave you the spreadsheet,
Yep.
but I did not, I just checked.
and then the 12
So,
town
so they
group
sent
passed
it to
along.
Joyce, why? Only because she was,
That's who all the
I-
selectmen's email goes to.
right, but I mean, why
And
would
then
they
it was
send,
sent
why
to
would they
12
send
town
it to, is that why it went to the
Yeah.
12 town? So it went to Alfred only because of John in the 12 town.
Yeah, and David Spoufard, who is included in this, is a member of the York County Budget Committee. And one of Barry's requests is that this be presented to the Budget
Oh,
Committee.
okay. All right. Anything else on this?
Penny wise, pound foolish.
Yeah. All right, plans for the staff holiday party a week from Friday night, not 2 weeks from Friday night. Are we all set? Do we need anything, or?
Well, first thing is, when you say staff holiday party, is it, just want to make sure that we know who we're inviting, staff's family, volunteer family? That's what way it was last year, right?
Yep, that's what it was.
So volunteers and their and any family members, and staff and any family members.
So it should be the municipal staff,
Yeah.
committee members, families, et cetera, right? So it's more than just staff. It's-
Right, yeah. Okay, now, let me
And
tell
we
you,
asked them to RSVP Laura at the
Okay.
fire station.
let me tell you where I've gone on this, and see what else needs to be done, and to see if I've, if you wanna go with this again. What I've done is I've basically come up with a menu, which was basically the same as last year. And I don't know if people wanna, go with that, and I'm happy to do that food preparation, the purchasing and food preparation, during that day. And I think other people, Nancy and, did something with gifts and table settings and all that.
Tree ornaments, I think, 'cause we had a
Yeah,
ton
we
of
did
tree
last year.
ornaments left over.
Yeah. So that I'm not prepared to get into. I'm prepared to do some, purchase food and do some cooking and do a Italian garlic bread, the Primavera spaghetti sauce and meatballs, side of meatballs and spaghetti and salad and fruit drink and coffee and do that. Dessert I didn't do. You had that
Yep,
last
I'll
year.
take care of that.
You ready to go with that again? Now, we talking, last year we had about 50 people, did we?
No, I think there was more than that, if I
I think there
remember.
was.
Yeah.
Kinda
So-
came in a couple of waves, right? There
Yeah.
was an early bunch that came and left. And
So we're probably talking 75 or so to plan for.
Yeah,
You
you can
think?
check with Laura to see who has.
And there's always a few extra, don't you know? So, I will plan on 20% more than what you think is gonna show up.
We did pretty good last year. We didn't have many leftovers.
No,
No, there wasn't.
I was getting worried towards the end that we weren't gonna have
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah, I was trying to get down there.
Yeah, just make sure you wear a rain jacket when you're in the kitchen and he's
Yeah.
splashing around in the meatballs.
Yeah,
There was
So-
some nice pictures though last year.
so usually what happened last year is, people started coming in around 5 o'clock. It was like 5 to 7, was it? And I think, most people ate somewhere between 5 and 6:15, 6:30, and I think 6:30, most people were finished, and, so that means between around 3:30 and 5, setting tables, getting that all set up, getting punch bowls and pouring all that stuff out, setting up the, when I have the spaghetti sauces, setting those up so they're outside the kitchen, that they can be accessed, and so if I remember correctly, last hour, probably, or hour and a half, between 3:30 and 5, need the most people to get involved. And then after that, 5 or 6 people serving.
Yeah,
And we'll do
Christina-
paper plates this time, right?
Yep, they've all been ordered, and Christina and I, we went down and set the tables the last time.
Great.
5 or 6 people serving. You and I did it last year.
You did such a good job, we thought there was
Everybody
6
served-
people.
everybody got
What's
a-
that?
I
No,
said,
we
you did
served
such a
it.
good job, we thought there was
And
6
then I
people.
think the rest of them were the table cleaners,
Oh,
table
yeah.
runners.
Yeah, there's not much you can, the room is not set up so that you could do a whole row of people serving like a
Yeah.
buffet or something. Anyway. Okay,
I don't know if there's any other things that,
Well,
there's,
Did the invitations go out?
Yes, Christina sent them all out.
so all the background stuff, it'd be great if you had some music or something too outside.
I think if I remember right, last year I called the high school and I tried to get like the chamber singers or something like that, but they charge a fee
Yeah,
to do that.
well,
I'll call the high school again and see if, I'll talk to Mr. Stickney or
not gonna be able to
something.
get them into the eating area.
I think, to me, it's just as easy to have a CD or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, Ovid has always been in a band, right? From
That's
Memorandum.
right.
So you might be able to-
plays guitar, and
Oh, yeah, we got Dave.
Dave over there play the drums, and the little drummer boy.
All right, so I'll have Christina just plug this in under old business for the next couple of weeks in case something comes up, okay? Speaking of old business, we have none this evening. Other business, warrants and bills for payroll, and entertain a motion to approve those.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Minutes of the November 20 meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Pending decisions haven't changed much. Let's see. I need to look at the sheet here. Week's action list, I think we're all set. Nancy, if you want to talk back and forth and see if we can get something out to Barry and his posse. And then a discussion of agenda items. I put down our meeting schedule for December. We probably ought to solidify that next Tuesday night. In other words, we're going to conduct all our business in 3 business meetings. We'll bring back the part-timer issue for the road commissioner. See if we're going to move or not on getting another part-timer. And like I said, I'll bring back, have Christina at least put under road business the holiday get-together in case we miss something there.
Could, when are we gonna talk about the snowplow contract?
I'm good to bring it back next week if you want.
You know, maybe Nancy could just kind of pull it together on what it would cost us each year. Based on the,
When can we get the auditor in?
He's coming in next week.
He's coming next week.
So he'll be
Yeah,
here at
so make sure
6:30.
you look at
It's
that.
an appointment at 6:30 next week.
Now, would we be ready to, after he makes his presentation, we're going to have the information we need to vote on this?
I think so.
Great.
So I guess the question is, or the action is, if you have questions that need to be funneled up to Ron, get them to Nancy so that she can get them to him by the end of the week. So you get the draft, take a look at it. I think it's also been emailed out to everybody, so get any comments or questions, raise those, and we'll get them to Ron so that he can address them. And hopefully, we have a document that we can at least approve next week, or tentatively approve with listed changes or whatever. So we'll put that in the new business as the approval of the audit report as well.
If I could ask once again, I assume there's probably a good reason why it didn't appear this time, but if we could have an update on our litigation on small claims.
He was not in.
Excuse me?
He has not been in.
he was here, I saw him.
I mean, he was not in last week for her to get him the information so that he could prepare it. So
I assume there was a good reason.
No, it'll fall to next week. So I believe she's got him scheduled for next week.
Oh, I just want to, David
I'll add it.
has met with Time Warner, and for the internet and phones for the whole town department, it will be cheaper than what we're paying per month for just here.
Wow.
So the phone system doesn't care who the carrier
No.
is, right? The phone system,
That also includes upgrading our internet here at the library and the fire station to something in the neighborhood of 3 to 5 times more speed bandwidth. They're like going to ramp it up to wideband instead of broadband.
there are still some issues with this phone system, just so you know. I mean, I call in here numerous times a week, and there's been on a number of occasions where no one answers the phone doesn't go to a voice message, nothing. The automated attendant doesn't pick up, it just rings
Hasn't been programmed.
for like 25 times.
I wonder if we're having problems again with that 8166. That was the problem before when we had that.
That was OTT's.
Yes.
I told Christina about, because it happened, when did the last time I talked to her? It was Wednesday, right?
Is it that one that affects the rollover?
Well, that, not what it had to have rolled over from 6166, because I dialed 6166.
Yeah, we have
Right.
5 in the hunt group, and we're having problems with that 8166. We thought I had it cleared.
So, I mean, all I'm saying, if it's happening if it's happened to me 4 or 5 times in the last month, I'm sure it's happening to other people, so.
Okay, we'll follow.
I bet it
And
is that
I hung
number.
up and dial right back, and boom, the automatic attendant comes right on.
It did.
Yep.
Because it picked up another line. Probably came in on line 1 through
Yeah,
4.
all right.
Okay. Anything else for next week? Items needing signature, warrants, bills for payroll, minutes of the November 20th meeting, also the liquor license for Woody's has to be signed in there. So, reminders, Monday night, nothing the rest of this week? Anyone? Okay. Monday night, December 3rd, 2020 Master Planning Committee at the Central Station. Is Tom going to Skype in for that, or? Selectmen's meeting here next week at 6. York County Community Action Fuel Assistance appointments at the Old Town Hall on Wednesday, the 5th. You must have an appointment. Are they going to be there tomorrow, or do we know? Planning
They've been
Board.
coming on Wednesdays.
Planning Board, December 5th at 7 p.m. Conservation Commission, December 6th, Thursday night at 5 p.m. The always popular cribbage tournament, December 8th at 8:30 a.m. over at the Town Hall, and back here on the 11th with the Contract Deputy, Fire Department, and 2020 Master Planning Committee reporting. Anything that I missed? I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Thank you and good night.